Да нет, что, почему бы нет? Смотри, туда приезжаешь, тебе дают где-нибудь, ну, камору какую-нибудь, да. За еду можно, ну там, за небольшую плату делать. Типа того, да. Жизнь, она все равно шкуры продажная, иди нафиг. То есть, как бы, ты знаешь, это, ну, это ты уже говорил, да, закон, ну, нет, понимаешь, на себя. Да. Ну, наоборот, вот это у меня уже. Тот, кто воюет, он всегда психбольной, понимаешь? Ну нет, практически на самом деле. А, в восприятии жить как-то. Ну да, нашел ключ. Ну я же говорил, что примерно так. Расти дальше, то есть, да. Ну так это и есть несмирение. А, ты, нет, это само собой получается. Да. Женщине это не. Это как думаешь? Нет, женщине значит говорит не думаю. Да, это да. Ну не знаю, это не их тема вообще. Как ты думаешь, сам? Это не знаю, как. Нет, это да? Нет, ну да, ну да, школа, ну. Когда 5 ноября, если сегодня правильно.
Tesla Model V is a vertical takeoff and landing.
Moves. The wrist is the thing that moves, not the arm, the wrist. It's all in the wrist. It's all in the wrist. So, in order to prepare for this, I've developed a couple of exercises that'll help you do this. Okay, for the first exercise, we're going to put our third finger on G, and we're just going to hold it down like a pull. Then we're going to play 2 on E, and then 1 on C. 2 on E, 1 on C. And it'll rotate, it rotates around it. You'll pivot around your third finger like this. And the wrist will do the pivoting. 90% of the pivoting, or even more, will be done with the wrist. A little bit will be done with the elbow. It's hard to not do any with the elbow, but please do not go out with the elbow like this. I see a lot of pianists doing this, and actually it's incorrect. It's not efficient. And actually, most pianists who use their elbow to go out have to do so because their wrist is stiff. If you play with an unstiff wrist, play with a flexible wrist, it will allow you to go under, rotating your wrist like this. So, let's do this exercise. 3 on G, 2 on E, thumb on C. I'm just going to repeat that a few times. I see how the wrist is rotating around the third finger. Now, right when your thumb hits C, the split second it hits C, then you're going to let go and then come over here with your second finger. So the second exercise is, the first exercise was rotating around the third finger. Now we're going to rotate around the thumb. And then this will be like coming back. So we're going to play our thumb on C. By the way, play the thumb at about a 30-degree angle. Don't play flat. Do not play flat. Play at about a 30-degree angle. And now we're going to play 3 here and 2 on E. Rotate your wrist around your thumb like this. Look at my upper arm. Look at the upper arm. The elbow barely moves at all. It's all
This is one of the first pieces I teach to beginners here in my studio. Of course, they don't play it this fast. I don't want to mislead you about that. But what helps is that the piece is composed of repeating patterns that make it easy to memorize without having to read music. And more to the point, for this lesson, my students get off to a great start because I teach them to play not just with their fingers, but with their wrists, arms, their whole body, you might say. Now maybe you beginners are wondering, why not skip this and go right to a lesson on a favorite piece or song, a tutorial that simply shows you what notes to play, rather than how to play, as we're going to do here. Well, that's because every time you sit down at the piano, you're building habits. And this lesson will help you make great habits from the start, rather than ones that will hold you back. But this video is also for those of you who already play, because the next few minutes may get you thinking about piano technique in a whole new way. If you ask most people how you get sound from the piano, they're going to say, well, that's simple enough. You push, you press down. But you know, there's a better way to do it. All you need to do is to let your weight drop into the key. In other words, let gravity do the work. When you let gravity do the work, you're not likely to develop tension or fatigue as some players do. Another thing that happens is it's easier to control the dynamics. And by dynamics, I mean how loud or soft you're playing. Let's say you're playing a melody with the right hand, as so often happens, over an accompaniment, and you want that melody to sing out. So as I'm doing that, think in to the right side. Believe me, that's so much easier than thinking, how hard do I have to press each note? We're so used to, for example, at a computer keyboard, where you're typing like this and your arms are really controlled and it's all finger action. Well, that's a great way to type, but it's not a great way to play. Now, raise your right arm with your wrist loose. And as you raise it, focus on the sensation of weight.
course, so much of Rachmaninoff. If you would ask me this question, 10, 15, 20 years ago, first of all, I probably wouldn't want to do it. Second, I probably, rashly would respond to you, I hate his music. And it's a strange thing to admit, but remember, it was a long time ago, and it wouldn't be absolutely true. It does have an explanation. The explanation probably lies in what so-called, Russian piano school was about, because I was a product of this school. This kind of music education was about winning competitions, getting gold, playing better than
This is one of
anybody
the
else.
first pieces I teach to beginners here in the studio. Of course, they don't play it this fast. I don't want to mislead you about that. But what helps is that the piece is composed of repeating patterns that make it easy to memorize without having to read music.
This kind of music was about, because I was a product of this school. This kind of music education was about winning competitions, getting gold, playing better than anybody else. You would be given a program and you would be polishing it to death, until it looked as dead as marble, but just as shiny, and you would be sent to competitions to win them. Studying still in school, they decided to have first Rachmaninoff competition. And, my teacher and everybody said, oh, you've got to, learn some Rachmaninoff and do this competition. And that was the only time, and I think the last time when I refused to play competition. I said, I'm not going to do it. I just didn't want, to touch his music with dirty competition hands. Because in reality, I really, really, really seriously loved Rachmaninoff. Where I really loved Rachmaninoff, though I didn't like his, all competitive concertos, I loved his songs. And every composer who writes songs, for us, for musicians, it's a true Rosetta Stone. If you don't know what the music means, what musical language means, because it has no words, you can figure it out by which poetry composer chooses. And for Rachmaninoff with his songs spoke directly to me, to my heart. When I listened to concertos, to Rachmaninoff playing them again and again when I was preparing for recording, I noticed that some things actually he does differently. It's do what I do, not what I say. For example, tempo marking, some dynamics, but even some notes are very much different. And that was kind of, crossroading, because, okay, what do you do? And people can criticize you because you are not following score, but I think it's okay if you are following composer. The idea behind doing Rachmaninoff concertos all over was try to get as close to Rachmaninoff's original design and to do it as he would do it, just with better sound quality. So I hope, I succeeded maybe 1 or 2%.
Нет, ты такого уже не сказано. Нет, сказано.
Hello everyone. In the class I already made a video about how to study skills correctly, and I'll put the link in the description below. It's really worth to watch, especially if you're gonna use some tips from this video. And I know I looked a bit odd and weird in my early videos because I was scared of the camera, and yet I really like the information that is in those videos. So if you could ignore my look, my voice, and just pay attention to information directly, then it's worth to watch. Anyway, so in this video today I'll share with you tips for strengthening finger muscles and tendons, for evenness and independence of fingers, and for speed in scales. Basically, speed comes from three aspects of playing. First, from ability to feel fast, to control fingers in fast tempo without inner sensations. Meaning not pressing a key and afterwards notice unevenness of the sound, that's called an accident, but control it by giving the right impulse to the finger muscles right before pressing a key, and that impulse is originated in our imagination, in our intonation, in other words, in our inner sensations. Second, speed comes from the skills of dropping, releasing tension in muscles while playing, to let muscles breathe, because phrasing is the art of breathing, and it will let you drop tension with exhalation and start a new wave of tension with the next inhalation, and that will keep hand muscles in a healthy tension. And lastly, which we're going to mostly talk about today, speed comes from the strength and evenness of every finger to better and easier control finger muscles. Because even if we can imagine fast, but the muscles are not strong enough, tendons are not strong enough, we couldn't convey our ideas very well. So everything should be balanced. And strengthening and even finger muscles are preparatory stage for speeding up. Without it, no matter how fast you move your fingers, you could never play scales with good quality. Well, I guess you all know about that. Maybe you already know from my hand and exercise video that playing slowly only with forte and of course correct hand movements and arm weight will strengthen your fingers very well. And again, just like in the hand exercises, of course you can simply imagine right hand up and left hand down, but you will feel much more balanced when you imagine both hands.